Hey there, I'm Nicholas Dubois, co-founder of Advanced SimRacing. We are a Canadian company. So what we did here today is for a real petrol head. He's really passionate about cars, as you can see behind me. We did a turnkey solution for him based on his needs. We try to gather as much information as we can on our client. And like we did today, we install a D-box system. We install ultra-wide cube control steering wheel. We try to provide the best quality for your budget. So let's say if you want a budget of 10 grand, we're gonna give you something that's the best for 10 grand. If you want 20 grand, then we always try to stay within your boundaries. We do try to make it as easy as possible. So the client, once we install everything, it's pretty much gonna be a turnkey. So he's gonna press start on his computer, and right after, we'll try to explain everything, how it goes, how it works, and then he's ready to go. Our aluminum is from USA, treated in Canada, cut in Canada. So we do sand all our aluminum piece just to make sure the powder coat sticks to it. And that's one of the reasons why we use powder coat, is to make sure you have the best aluminum finish in the industry. And our quality is beyond what you can get with any other competitors right now. We are really, really passionate about all the gear, all the cockpits, all the sim hardware, and that's why we want to create something that's really going to reflect our passion into our product. Come visit us at advancedsimracing.com. You can always reach us if you have any questions. You can call us, you can text us, you can go on Facebook, like our page, ask us questions over there, and we'll make sure to answer every questions there is. We are very passionate about what we do, and we try to make it as easier for you to go into the sim racing world, because there's a lot of gear, there's a lot of options, but let us guide you through your process, and let's hope you'll be an Advanced Sim Racing customer.
Last week saw two contrasting tracks between the Pro and Am series. This week will have a similar feel with regards to lap length. A long technical circuit to test the Ams will be followed by a short and fearsomely quick one for the Pros. Let's see what sort of results this produces as we get ready to watch round 2 of the PRL Formula Series. And you'll see it all live here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is DJ Clark. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Suzuka is up first tonight. Having hosted open wheelers for decades, our F3 cars will feel right at home. Let's head to our track eye to learn more. Welcome to Suzuka Circuit, perhaps most famous for its hosting of the Formula One Japanese Grand Prix for much of the event's history. This track sees all sorts of racing besides that. In fact, this place began as a test track for Honda, but later proved to be a driver and fan favorite for competitive motorsports as well. The full layout of the Grand Prix course steals the show, but there's actually 5 different versions that can be run on iRacing. With their lap lengths ranging from just over 2 kilometers to nearly 6 kilometers, plenty of different types of cars can suit the track. GT racing and lower-level open wheelers are quite popular, but motorcycles are also a staple here. Some of the corners have become world-renowned over the years. The S's are often cited as one of the great tests of a driver's technical prowess. Then, of course, there's Degner's 1 and 2, which provide very little runoff considering their fast and narrow entry. Later on, the long backstretch leads up to the notorious 130R, which is blindingly fast. The Casio Triangle offers one last chance at an overtake if you're brave, but has been the scene of many drivers clattering into one another over the years. F1 fans will be quick to cite the infamous coming together here between Senna and Prost. However, real-life visitors will find it's more than the racing that provides some viewing pleasures. The unique ways in which the Japanese fans celebrate their favorite cars and drivers certainly capture your attention. But it's no wonder they're such fanatics, because who wouldn't be with one of the world's greatest tracks right in your backyard? DJ, we're used to watching Formula One here, but with these cars having a little less oomph, it'll take a little longer to get around.
It will indeed, Joe, but some of the same tricky sections as we see in Formula One, we're going to see out here in the Formula 3s. Of course, now that is that snaking S's section in the first sector, as well as the tricky Degner corners. Drivers are going to have to be a little bit more careful as well going through 130R. May have to see a little bit of feathering here and there. But the overtaking zones, well, they're going to be the exact same as well. Look for some brave opportunistic moves going down into the hairpin, and certainly going into the Casio triangle as a potential place to get an overtake done, but you got to be careful going through there. Even though these F3 cars are a little bit more narrow than their bigger brothers, they are coming through a very, very tight zone there, so we may see a little bit of contact if somebody's too overeager.
Certainly could be a problem zone. But let's talk about our sponsors while we've got the chance, because our broadcast is brought to you by ASR. Owned and operated by passionate sim racers, Advanced Sim Racing designs and builds the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com.
It's also sponsored by RaceLab. RaceLab helps you improve your driving skills. With modern overlays, race statistics, and native VR integration, you can get the best out of iRacing. Start using it for free at racelab.app.
Today's broadcast is also proudly sponsored by ButtKicker. ButtKicker products add an incredible immersion and realism to any game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat. Check them out at thebuttkicker.com.
Today's event is also brought to you by SimMSA. Simulation Motorsports Affinity provides many consulting services, from completely customizing simulators to managing teams, individual drivers, and complete events. They're working hard to bring everyone together at one place to support and promote sim racing internationally. Find out how you can bridge the gap between virtual and real motorsports at SIMMSA.net.
And finally, the PRL Formula Series is also brought to you by NinjaTrader. Ready to compete against the financial markets? Supporting over 60,000 users across the globe, NinjaTrader provides award-winning trading software and brokerage services. NinjaTrader is always free to use for advanced charting, backtesting, and trade simulation. Visit ninjatrader.com to get started with a risk-free trading simulator and start tracking your performance. Let's take a look at the championship now as we glance at the drivers' standings first after one round. Not too many surprises here. About 5 points between Michael West and a tie for second with Tebben and Richards. Tebben having taken more bonus points. Dave Peterson sits in third because of that, with Ritters and Duhamel the next two down in fourth and fifth.
Moving over to look at those team standings, Britannia iSports MRM, they are on top right now, but only by 2 points over Viking Hot Rod Racing. A bit of a gap back to Eagle Vision Racing, but a very, very close battle between them and Blown Tranny. Parabola Racing sitting a little ways back. They're going to have a fight on their hands, but it is early in the season, so don't count anything out.
Right now, qualifying has just started. 10 minutes around here means that they're at most going to see about 5 laps, maybe even 4 laps for most of them, since not everybody took off immediately. But James Presley and the number 1 is the first in line out there, running through the S's. It should give us a good idea of exactly what it's going to be like trying to be quick around this place.
Yeah, indeed. This is such a tricky section. A lot of drivers refer to this as one of the most rhythmic corners, series of corners anywhere in the world. You've really got to nail that first entry into the S to be able to line up all the way up through Dunlop and into Degner. There you see Presley making his way around that world-famous hairpin as well.
Yeah, such a variety of corners. This was this started life as a test track, actually, for Honda. And that's why it has such an interesting, diverse corner selection here as we come through Spoon now. Long double apex left-hander onto one of the fastest parts of the course, the run up the hill on the backstretch towards 130R.
Yeah, this is such a fearsome section. So crucial to get a good run out of Spoon. It's a very tricky braking zone there, a little bit of camber, and then through that relatively flat out section of 130R. You're going to have to watch if you're following behind another car. You could see some arrow washes there. He goes into that final set of chicanes.
So as he comes out of the final corner, let's see if he kept it clean. There's a few places you could wind up going wide, but it is clean. It's a 53.7. Everybody behind him now getting ready to set times. And remember, their qualifying times and the finish of the race will happen at that very early finish line just outside of the final corner. So don't get caught out by that. They don't have to go down to the start line, which is a little ways down the hill on the pitch straight. We're watching Bennett now in the 25 car. Let's see what time he'll mark. A 54.5 it appears for him, but it looks like it did not count, unfortunately.
Yeah, drivers are going to have to be careful of that. Couple areas to run wide around here. Watching Donald Olson here coming around the bend right now. 155.587 for Olson. That's going to put him in 8th. Carter able to just pip him to the line. Here comes Lorente.
Yep, riding on board with the number 9. And as he crosses the line, it is a 53.7. That's up on the second row, so he is certainly looking just about as quick as we noticed him to be at Long Beach.
Indeed. Here's Takeshi Kita. Now, we always talk about Takeshi, a really, really skilled driver when it comes to racecraft. Not always able to get his qualifying times to where I think he would like them. This looks like an outlap here for Takeshi. So he's going to start off there. Going to get the benefit of the draft in front of him.
Which will help now that he's finally got a flyer. As we look at James Doherty as well, and a 54.7 will put him into 16th. I see Colander also coming through in the 9.73. Let's see if this one's going to be competitive. Looks like maybe an outlap for him as well, or he had it off because that one did not count at all. Interesting there from the Northwest driver. Waiting on Joey Tebben, who took the podium, as Presley goes up to second place, and Kofre takes the pole as Tebben now puts one down, and much better than his warm-up seemed to imply, he goes to 8th.
That's a great lap there for Joey, hoping to capitalize. Remember, he started down around in that position last time around as we see Michael West popping to the top of the charts there, following Daniel Barnett, currently down in 22nd. That's going to, that new time at 155.4, that'll put him into the low team.
Red Accord will have that lap deleted, sadly, as Olson comes up next. He's got a 55.5 for his first lap, 53.8. Big improvement for the 413. That'll put him into 11th. Wonder if it's taken a bit for the tires to get up to temperature. It's not a terribly hot day.
It's not. Track temperature is only about 84 degrees, so I wouldn't be surprised if it, especially in the outlap, it'll take a little bit of time. The one thing I will say, Joe, is that there is so much lateral load that is put through these tires in the first sector. By the time they get to the hairpin, I've got to think that they'll be up to 10.
Another driver that unfortunately didn't have that lap count there, Holland. Gore did get one down, but it only bumps him up to 22nd, so a little bit off the pace for Tyler today. As we look at Vargas up next, he's in 14th, and he bumps himself up to 9th.
And James Doherty doing a very similar thing, jumping himself up to 8th there as he crosses over the line. Now we're going to watch Colander here coming out of the last curve, coming to the line here. This isn't going to be a super fast lap for Colander. Indeed, it's only going to put him 26th, but he's got enough time to get at least another 2 in if he stays on course.
Only missing 2 drivers with times as we get another up of the ante for pole. Kofre is now into first, but Kevin Santana, where did he come from with a 51.8?
Mega lap there for Santana. Christopher Richards able to cross over, go a little bit faster there into 15th place. It's a good lap for the Midwest driver there. Here comes Matthew Miles. He's currently back in 12th. Is he going to be able to improve? Oh no, only by about 0.05 of a second.
Sad news for fans of Frederick Bennett. The 25 is in pit lane. He's not got enough time left to try and set a timed lap, so he'll have to start from the back of the grid as Broomhead comes out of the final corner, out of the Casio triangle, and a 52.9 is that little bit faster, good enough for the second row.
That's a good one for Broomhead there. Looking on the charts, Dave Peterson now bumping Broomhead down. Peterson takes 4th place. We watch James Holland, though, coming around that final corner.
So sitting in 22nd, the number 2, trying to get on the power here. He's got one more lap if this one doesn't work out. Let's see, it's a 54.6. That's an improvement of just about half a second there. But it looks like he does not go very high, stays in 20th and now 21st as more drivers behind him find time.
Yeah, indeed, looking around. Oh, bad news for fans of Joey Tebben. He's had another off here, so that time for him is going to stick in 15th. Continue to watch Holland here. Nobody's setting fast laps at this moment, it looks like.
Coffret, who occasionally has held the pole here this afternoon, is going to come across again, and the 28 does not go quicker, but he's got one last shot. Here's Santana, our current pole sitter, and he goes even faster to a 51.799.
That's going to be a tricky lap to try to beat. Michael West, his closest opponent, is about 4/10 off of that right now. Here comes Christopher Richards to the line. Not a fast lap for Richards. He's going to stay in 16th. Matthew Miles is going to be the first one to take the checkered flag.
All right, can he go higher than P13? Yes, he can. Up to 9th with that latest lap. Olsen is up next in the 4:13. Oh, but he goes off in the Casio Triangle. He's done. Carter will follow him. He's in 21st.
Here comes the Georgian to the line, trying to improve on that 54.5. He's not going to be able to do it, unfortunately. Looks like we have 10th place Lorente coming across. See if he can go all better than a 53 dead.
Peterson behind him goes faster, but stays in 6th. Not able to get enough to gain a position as Duhamel goes into 3rd.
And Joe Coffret has spun coming out of the hairpin, so that's going to eliminate him. He's going to be no higher than 4th. Here comes James Holland, though. Does he have anything? Yes, he crosses over the line. 7/10 improvement there. Bump his way up to 18th. Marcheschi able to improve to 14th, and Gore up to 16th.
Takeshi Kita next, a 53.1. That'll put him in 15th. That's a pretty good qualifying for Takeshi. Santana going to abandon his lap. He's done. Michael West is next. He sits in 2nd place. He's our winner from the first round. He's got to make up 3/10, though. That is a pretty wide margin. As he comes down towards the Casio Triangle, he slows. He's done.
He is going to call it off there. This is the last driver on track. This is Christopher Richards, currently in 20th. This is great to be able to see on board. Heavy braking zone down into that Casio Triangle. Missed a little bit of the apex there. You can take a little bit of the curbing, but let's see if he's able to improve on that 153.
Down to the line. It's going to be close. It is better by about 2/10, and that will put him into 18th. So a couple spots jumped up in the dying moments of our qualifying session. Okay, well, that was fascinating. A few drivers making mistakes and costing themselves opportunities to qualify, probably what their pace could have gotten them.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Definitely some drivers out of position here, so we'll be careful to watch them move their way up through the field. Now, as I said, not the easiest track to overtake on, and coming into that first corner, Joe, it gets very, very tricky. So look for some action as we get ready to take the green.
And again, this is the PRL Formula 3 Amateur Series. That implies that we have a professional series coming up after it. It's a double header, as we're going to be doing every Monday and Thursday night here in the Precision Racing League. So stick around after this one, because there'll be more racing with the PRL Formula 3.5 Pro Series over in Austria in a few moments' time. With qualifying done, it's time to go through our starting order, and it is Kevin Santana who takes the bonus for the pole with Michael West in P2. Then it's Sean Duhamel in 3rd with Coffret starting from 4th. He was our pole sitter for the last race. Rainer Holtz will be P5, Peterson in 6th, and then Vargas on the inside of the next row. Broomhead starts 8th, Heffernan will be 9th, and Miles will be 10th.
Starting off in the 11th place position will be Eduardo Lorente, followed by James Presley. Behind them in row 7, it's Robert Ridgway and James Doherty, with Takeshi Kita in 15th and Keaton Marcheschi in 16th. Brian Hotham is 17th, followed by Christopher Richards. And rounding out your top 20, it's Tyler Gore and podium finisher from the last round, Joey Tebben.
got some work to do if he wants to do that again. Behind him, it'll be Olsen in 21st with Holland P22. Then it's Accord, and at 23rd, followed by Carter. And then you've got Plord on the inside of the next row. Barnett will start next to him. Colander and Spicer were the last two with a qualifying time. And Bennett did not set one. The only car to fail to do so. It looks like we're only waiting on our pole sitter to find his way to the grid, and then we are good to go for today's race here, round 2 in the PRL Formula 3 Amateur Series. Looks like Santana's out there. That means that the engines will start to rev as the lights come up. Waiting for the lights to go out, and the green flag is out. Not a great start for Santana. Already to his inside, Michael West, last round's winner, is going to snatch the lead away even before the first corner. Coffray looking good. Slipping into P3 as Holtz as well gets to the inside of Duhamel behind them. Everybody trying to siphon down into turns 1 and 2.
Looking relatively okay there. There was a big fan out at the drop of the flag, but these front runners starting to go single file as they work their way up the hill. West still leading from Santana, from Coffray, Holtz, and Duhamel.
I see no side-by-side racing already here through the S's, so everybody is in for the long haul of these 19 laps as Michael West comes down into the Degner curves for the first time. This is one that can catch people out pretty easily. I see one car nearly going off into the dirt. I think that was Heffernan, but he catches it. Everybody else behind looks good so far.
Ooh, and Holtz had a little bit of a bad run there coming out of Degner. I thought for a second Sean Duhamel was going to pounce, but behind him his teammate Dave Peterson looking threatening as well. Behind them looking like a little bit of a battle brewing up as well.
Oh, we got one spin at the very back. Don't need to go to it, but that was Barnett, who goes to the tail end of the field. Still a 0.3 of a second gap between West and our pole sitter, Santana. They've got a full second over Sebastian. Is that going to increase, or can the 28 start to reel them in?
We're going to have to see if Coffray's got anything here, but I think he's got bigger problems. That's Holtz coming up behind him, getting a good tow, going down into 130R. Don't really want to make the move before that corner. Coffray almost kicking up dirt on the outside. Ooh, Holtz had to back off there. A little bit too much aero wash. We've got cars off in the back.
Looks like that is Broomhead. Oh, no. The 5 not having a great start, so we'll go back to him in a bit. We have got another spinner out of the Casio triangle. And I think that's Joey Tebbin. So this is Broomhead's incident. And then we're going to look at the 60, unfortunately going to the back of the field as well immediately after that. Did he get some help here?
Let's take a look. That's Broomhead right in the center of your screen. Comes out wide. Yeah. Absolutely lost control. Yeah, all right. So here is Joey Tebbin diving in. Oh, he just caught the grass there, Joe. Able to gather the car back under him and then collapse a little bit too much of the curb, and that's what sends him off into the kitty litter.
He's down in 27th, sadly. Takeshi Kita must have had a serious problem because he's already in pit lane. I didn't see what it was, so let's jump to our leaders with West leading Santana. Coffray's not giving up on it. He's still at it. Oh, we've had a wreck between Colander and Bennett as well. Boy, a lot of problems here in these early laps.
Yeah, as I said, Joe, this is a very, very tricky track, and a lot of drivers finding it particularly difficult to keep going around here. But the two guys who are not, that's Michael West and Kevin Santana. Santana doing a pretty good job to keep up behind. Now, just a note to our viewers, we're expecting the pit stops to come around lap 11. We have been told you can stretch to lap 12 if you really make it work.
Compared to last week, it's a smaller pit window than what we saw at Long Beach, so drivers will have to plan that more carefully. What happened to 47 there? I'm not sure if that was a glitch, but the car just suddenly hopped on the front. Must have been some kind of glitch because he seems to be driving okay. I would have thought that caused severe damage how it just blew up into the air.
Yeah, that's what but no appearing problems to be on that car right now as Coffray sets the fastest lap of the race, putting a marker down.
On board with Sebastian now. Still within about 0.8 of a second of Weston Santana. Not giving up on it, that's for sure. Didn't have the greatest of races, even though he looked fast back in California. Let's see if a jump across the Pacific can cool things down, allow him to be a little more consistent today. Got a battle brewing for a top 5 spot. Duhamel has Peterson all over his gearbox.
Yeah, indeed he does. And remember, these are teammates as, whoa,
Down to the
there
inside.
he goes.
Whoa! Into Degner too, and it looks like it might be an overtake here for Vargas as well, taking advantage of that being upset, and Duhamel trying to defend the inside into the hairpin. Doesn't quite get the launch off of it. Here comes Vargas once again. It's the inside of the run to Spoon, and he is going to seal the deal.
Indeed he is. That is some gutsy moves there, and a little bit of a heartbreak for Duhamel, losing 2 places in 1 lap.
Can't believe he made that stick on the way into Degner too. That is not an easy place to make it work, as Heffernan is fighting with both Presley and Lorente.
Yes, he is. Ooh, that's a gutsy move down to the inside, almost on the grass there, trying to hold this out. They're going to be absolutely side by side, going through 130R. Heffernan forced to back off a little bit, and Lorente's going to take that as an opportunity to make a move.
Oh, into the wall goes Heffernan, having to take evasive maneuvers to stay out of Presley. Unfortunately, that might take him out of the race as he hit pretty hard. He's going to try and drive it back to the pits.
That was a little bit bad all the way around there for all parties involved. You saw that pop up, though, on your screen. Cofre setting the fastest lap of the race again, so a lot of speed in that 28, but not able to close it down. Gap is still about 0.8 of a second.
I don't know if Presley got phantom damage, but Presley came into the pits immediately after that. I wonder if it was just too close and he clipped him, caused some suspension damage. But let's take a look at that 5th place battle once again. Now between Peterson and Vargas, who's also leading along Duhamel and Miles.
Yeah, so this is that battle that we saw with Peterson making that aggressive move down to the inside, and now Duhamel coming under pressure from Miles. Wonder if he's fuel saving a little bit, Joe.
Could be. Like we said, it's a bit of a tighter window, and it's a longer lap too, so it'll take a lot more to be able to save a full lap around here. But as they come into Spoon Curve, Peterson roughly 0.9 of a second away from Vargas, so he's certainly not within striking range. That could always change. Let's take a look at our leaders, though, because Santana has cut this down to 0.2 of a second. He is right behind West.
Yeah, he's really making the charge here. There you can see breaking a little bit early down into the Casio triangle, not wanting to push too hard. I think he's just trying to give a little bit of pressure to West in front, but as we saw last week, Joe, that is easier said than done.
Certainly is. And Michael West now taking the fastest lap, and Santana immediately snatches it away. Okay, so they're setting a pretty good pace based on what we're seeing here. Able to pull away by a 10th or 2 from Sebastian behind them. Now heading into the S's once again. We ride over the shoulder of Santana.
Yeah, looking it out. Now, you really can't make too much of a pass into here. Remember, like we said, and, well, there are drivers that like to prove us wrong now and again with it, but a little bit of a bad run coming up through Dunlop for Santana. He's going to lose about a 10th.
Not anything dire, at least right now. Cofre is closing in, though. It's about 0.5 of a second back to the 28. Holt's about 1.2 seconds back. Wonder if the handling of some of these cars will change over the course of the race. But as you mentioned, there's so many heavy load corners around this place.
Yeah, indeed. And as that fuel wears off a little bit, these cars will be very sensitive to that. You've got to be a little bit careful. There you see Santana taking a little bit of an opposite line on the high-speed entry into Spoon, just trying to minimize that aero wash. That's a good strategy from him. Now he's going to want to tunk up behind. There you see the slow drift so as to not scrub off any speed, just trying to maximize that draft before they get to 130R.
He's got it, but will he start to lose it here through the fast left-hand kink of 130R? No, he doesn't, and he's got a shot. He's going to take it. The red car pokes his nose to the inside and takes the lead away, covers off the cutback. West can't respond.
And there we have the first lead change of the race, but West doesn't look like he's done yet. He's getting aggressive down the front straightaway.
He's going to take the inside, even though he almost got pushed to the wall there. Side by side into the first corner. West immediately gets it back.
Does indeed. We could see a little bit of a battle shaping up on our hands between these two fearsome competitors, trying to see what they can do, but they've got to be very, very careful. If they don't watch themselves, I think that behind them, Cofre may have a little bit something to say about it.
I think we've had a problem with Manuel Vargas because he's come into pit lane. No, it looks like a scheduled stop. Now this is, if it's 19 laps, we're only on lap 6. That seems way too early to me as we watch these top 3 now through the Degners. Cofre is definitely there. This has become a 3-car battle for sure.
Indeed it has. Cofre not going to make the move going down into the hairpin. Doesn't want to be quite that aggressive, but the 28 definitely has the pace, and that little battle back and forth has allowed him to close in massively.
So this is about 1.7 seconds now ahead of Holtz. He's making good on getting away from them as well. Let's take a look at the battle for 6th place. This is Duhamel and Miles fighting for this one, heading towards 130R themselves.
And yeah, Duhamel has really fallen off the pace of his teammate, Dave Peterson. But we're right on board here with Matthew Miles, trying to take advantage of it. Oh, Joe, but we've got a pass for the lead.
Santana going for it again. No, it looks like West going to hold on to it, and Santana slips up. Here goes Sebastian getting into P2. What happened to Kevin there?
Joe, I think he may have just overcooked it coming into the Casio triangle, just overshot the corner ever so slightly. Let's ride on board here, getting that good draft up through 130R, gets the apex perfectly, dives to the outside, gets onto the binders here, goes through. Yeah, I just carried too much speed through the first part of that corner, tried to put a little bit too much steering lock into the car, and it almost snapped on him.
That separates our top 3 by probably the widest margin we've seen since the start. Now we've got Joey Tebben in the pits as well. And I know he had an off track this lap, so we might see a few drivers have to take 2 stops unless they're very good on fuel saving, better than we anticipated at least. And West is pushing. You can see the rear sliding off of Degner too. He is trying to break the draft to the 28.
Yeah, really trying to do what he can there. I think he knows the speed that Cofre has. The gap's about 1 second now because Cofre had to check up when Santana had that problem on the last lap.
Taking a look at the fight for 6 once again. An update on Tebben. He is taking extensive repairs, so something definitely happened to that car that we missed.
Oh, Cofre is off! Cofre is off through Spoon!
We're seeing Long Beach all over again. We're going to look at the replay. He's going to fall down to 7th position, unfortunately.
And I think this is very similar to what we saw happen with Kevin Santana. Just took too much speed into the corner, comes around. Or no, I think he caught the inside curbing there, Joe. That's my bad. He caught that inside curb, and that sent him right into the gravel.
Gonna watch it one more time from on board here. Let's watch that left-hand side. Yeah, good catch. Well, not him, but you. And well, he's lucky that it didn't go all the way off to the barriers with that one. As we come back, he's already looking for 6. Manages to get back past to Hamill. Next up on his list is Miles.
And so while we were watching that, that means that Matthew Miles was able to slip by Duhamel. So we are checking it out. Let's see what he is able to do as he works his way up through the S's.
Wasted no time in attacking the 617. 24, is this going to be a similar quick pass for him, or is he going to have to work a little bit harder? He's a bit behind right now. Gonna get the exit off of Degner 2, potentially? No.
No, he's not too. Hamill there looking like he had a little bit of wheel spin that he had to try to correct there coming off of Degner 2. Braking hard for the hairpin. Better on the brakes, it looked like there was Coffre, but not really able to get too much onto it.
I think Peterson had a problem out of the hairpin. Oh yeah, Peterson had to catch the car. If we get a replay of the 35, he is now suddenly under threat because of that one mistake. There it is, right there.
Good catch for him. We're going to jump back here to check out an onboard to see exactly what happened to him. It's a little bit of a narrow entry into the corner. Just put a little bit too much power on. Didn't bring the car out wide. That's too much power and too much steering lock there, Joe.
You could wind up paying dearly, because not only is Miles caught up, but a man who is a bit out of position, Sebastian Coffre, is continuing to hound the pair of them. We're watching from Peterson's perspective. He's holding the very inside line. He does not feel safe coming down the pit stretch. Here comes Miles. Gonna look to the outside briefly and then backs out of it.
Yeah, decided not to go for it there. Maybe just a little bit of pressure trying to see if he can apply anything and force an error out of those in front.
Don't need to go to it, just a heads up. Ever since that those incidents up at the front, our top three have grown very far apart from one another, at least 2.5 seconds each away from their rivals. Out of the S's and through the Dunlop curve now. Peterson still holding off both Miles and Coffre. How long can he do so? Because they certainly look to have good pace, absolutely chucking it into the Degners.
Oh, and there comes Miles. I thought for a second he was going to have a better run out of the corner, but it didn't really work as much as he hoped. And there you see Peterson taking that narrow line in there that his teammate did as well, but not coming out to the same effect on the end.
Definitely not. We are, well, I was going to say we're missing a number of cars, but it looks like many actually came back out on track to try and make up some spots if we get more wrecks here today. So glad to see a few never say die attitudes showing up, including Coffre's, who's now got a very good run, and Miles doesn't defend the inside, at least in 130R. Is he going to be fully through? Sebastian almost side by side between the pair of them. This is what Miles was looking for. Inside down into the Casio triangle, deep on the brakes. Oh, and unfortunately a little contact sends Miles around as he just started to lose control in front of Sebastian.
Yeah, and Sebastian definitely clipped him there. I'm not seeing any major wing damage, but let's check this again. Now, late on the brakes, as you said, and just clipped way too much of that curbing on the inside, and that sent him spinning like a top.
This looked like there was a bit of ghost contact as well, I think. So I don't think we can put much blame on Seb for that, spinning him around. He had very little time to react. So we take a look up at our leader, Michael West, already catching some of that traffic that had to take repairs. This is Andy Spicer in front of him. This could be what the doctor ordered for the 666.
Yeah, it could indeed. Oh, but Michael West able to get by very, very quickly. Santana not able to get that as quickly as he would have hoped. He's still stuck behind Spicer right now, and that is really costing him. That gap is ballooning up to about 2 seconds.
And let's watch the pit lane here, because we are going to be starting lap 11 this time by who elects to try and take it this time, who is going to be able to stretch it to the next lap around, all the way out to the curbs there for the 47, using every inch of the pavement. And fastest lap right now belongs to Kevin Santana, first driver in the race itself to break under the 52 barrier.
It's an impressive lap for Santana. We continue to watch here as, that's a little bit of a scary amount of curb there for Michael West. Let's see if he decides to come in. He does not, nor does Santana. So still time out here for these drivers.
Holt's not going in. I'm watching carefully. I think we had an issue with Tyler Gore. Not sure what's going on, but he's dropping down the timing sheets. Yeah, nobody coming in. So everybody's going to try and go as long as possible, it appears. in this first stint of the race. Have something of a battle brewing for 12th. Plord is ahead of Holland, and Michael Plord. Oh, and as soon as I say that, Holland comes into the pits. So there's our first taker finally on what I think is a scheduled stop. But I was going to say Plord up from 25th spot here to 12th. Not too shabby.
No, not at all. There he's coming around that first corner, handling that car, doing relatively well there, just trying to stay out of incidents. And sometimes at Suzuka, that is the way you win the race.
A few others into the pits. I see Daniel Barnett looking for his stall. Looks like Colander is going to pass it up. Everybody behind them has been down to pit lane at least once, though they may have to take a second stop in a few of the cases of those who had to come in for repairs in the first couple laps. Because again, we believe the pit window is a max of 11 laps, which puts us at about, I believe, 8 laps in to the race itself. Anybody that pitted before lap 8 likely either going to have to do some major fuel saving or they'll be in for a second time.
Indeed. We continue to watch Plord here as he makes his way around. That gap up front, though, Joe, has continued to balloon for Kevin Santana. It's now up to 2.4 seconds, so not a real chance of him gaining here unless he's got something drastic to pull out of his hat.
Well, he's going to try an alternate strategy. West went on. Santana is in. Holtz continues. So does Spicer. Well, he's a lap down, actually. Peterson and Coffray keep going. That is actually getting a little bit close for 4th place. Sebastian has been trying to close down on him these past couple laps.
He has indeed, and he's been able to eke it in a little bit as Kevin Santana comes into the pits right now. So that is the highest of our pitters thus far.
Yeah, Santana is out and done. It's a bit of a long stop. Did he take tires? I couldn't see from my angle. 8.9 seconds for the 666.
My guess is with that time that he indeed did. I'll have to go back and check out the replay. A couple more pitters. Looks like Ridgway, Carter, both coming in right now. But we continue to follow this battle. This is Peterson and Coffray. The battle for 3rd out on track right now.
Yep, that's Sebastian in the pink and white and black car. Peterson running in the red, white, and blue. Car in front of them is not for position. That's Spicer, a lapped vehicle. We're going to watch from on board the 28 as he continues to keep Peterson honest.
Keeping him honest there and just keeping up the pressure. I can report, by the way, Santana did not take tires, just a little bit of a longer stop there for the 666. Coffray here, you can see as the speed begins to build, the advantage that he gets in that draft. Oh, he's got a full head of steam here.
He's going to look for it. He takes a little bit of a peek, but I don't think he's quite there. And a defensive line out of Peterson is certainly going to give him some caution on that one. Heads up for fans of the 22 of Manuel Vargas. Despite starting in 7th, it's just been a day to forget. He spun after his pit stop and got a lot of damage. Coffray is in. Peterson is in. No, excuse me. Holtz is in and Peterson, rather. Coffray stays out. Duhamel also pitting in, as well as Accord.
Yeah, so these leaders really able to stretch out the fuel window from what we had anticipated. So very, very impressive from them. Looks like everybody who's coming into the pits hits their marks nice and easy. I'm not seeing tires getting taken by anybody. Does make sense. Track temperature's only 79 degrees, so not a lot of degradation out on track.
Holtz back out, first of those who've pitted now. Still waiting for 5 drivers ahead of him to stop, as well as 2 behind him. Ooh, and look at the 47 continuing to kick up the dirt coming off. I don't think he's let up this entire race.
No, he really has not. Just absolutely putting the pressure on him as much as he can.
Santana's in a second time. And it's much longer this time. 15 seconds in his box. It's not a drive-through penalty for him. Not sure what's going on with the 666, but that'll send him down to 15th, which is really unfortunate considering the pace that he was showing.
Yeah, indeed, Joe. Not really sure what happened there for him. We'll have to try to dive in and see.
Maybe a speeding penalty or something on his way out of the pits, but he started very far up the order. As Michael West finally stops, well, with Santana coming in for a second time, Michael, I think, is just going to be home free from any sort of leapfrog maneuver. Looks like Coffret also pitting behind him. Remember, Coffret was racing with Peterson. Peterson is coming up to 130R right now.
Yes, we'll keep an eye on that as we watch there. That's the 9 of Lorente coming in as well. Also seeing Matthew Miles coming down the pit lane. This is Dave Peterson working his way through the Casio Triangle.
So this pit window definitely seems a lot larger than we anticipated. This is lap 14 the drivers are on. West is back on the track, and yeah, Holtz is the next car at a whopping 9 seconds behind him. It's looking like the 47 has this, it's his race to lose at this stage.
And this is Christopher Richards, who is able to make another lap work. So good job for him. He is your current leader.
And Coffret did jump Peterson in the pit cycle. He's now up to 4th. He's got 7.5 seconds to make up to Holtz if he wants to get onto the podium. So far, a better day than what he wound up with at Long Beach, but he's still got 6 more laps to go.
And as we've seen, just about anything can happen. We continue to watch Richards here as he makes his way up the hill towards Spoon right now. Good for the driver of the 49 to be able to get this car into the lead. Ooh, but we've got a battle here with Lorente and Duhamel.
Very close down into the hairpin, but Duhamel doesn't get his nose underneath him as they come off of the sharp left-hander and now veers back to the right with a long sweep up towards Spoon. Car is getting up to 140, 145 miles an hour before finally slamming on the brakes, and nothing doing for Duhamel this time, maybe up the backstretch.
Yeah, we'll have to see if he can get it here. Starts to work his way up through the gears. About a 0.5 of a second gap as it stands right now. Little bit of a jink there from Lorente, I think, maybe trying to break off the draft if he can. Richards, by the way.
Or no, yeah, sorry. I thought my timing screen showed West in. Excuse me. It was Richards in, as you just called it. West retakes the lead. And Holtz, as I mentioned, still a bit behind. Now, it was 9 seconds before. It's down to 7.8. Is that lap really that much faster? It was a 52.6 for Renier. And West was a 2:18.8. Then he just came out of his pit stop, so hard to gauge on that one. That's interesting.
And there you see Duhamel getting that move done on the main straightaway around Lorente. So great move from him. And right up the road, that is your former leader there, Christopher Richards, in first place.
And now that he's taken his stop, he'll cycle back into 5th. A 3-car fight. Can Lorente hold on and maybe scalp a position if the two of them start fighting with one another? After losing out to Duhamel, they are coming through the Degners yet again. Everybody trying to keep it on the paved stuff, and everybody successfully doing so.
Keeping it nice and easy. Lorente definitely looking for a little bit of revenge. Big Constantino under braking. Looks like a good run mid-corner there for Duhamel. Lost a little bit of speed on corner exit. Maybe advantage shifting back to Lorente here. He's not going to want to make a move into Spoon, though. That's a very, very dangerous place to try to make the pass. He's going to have to try to hold off until they get onto the long straight going down to 130R.
It'll all depend on this corner exit off a Spoon. But it's not looking like much of an advantage for any of the three. They stay equidistant coming up towards 130R. So it'll stick with Richards 5th, Duhamel 6th, and Lorente in 7th.
And nobody really making an aggressive move here. Nobody really close enough. Lorente again drawing in a little bit there at the end of the straight, keeping 1, 2, 3, 4. It's also James Presley there just lurking in the back of your screen. He could be one to maybe try to pick up a place if these three end up tangling.
Absolutely. As they come down into turns 1 and 2. Looks like Hotham and Santana are in a wild battle right now. Farther back, this is for the 12th place, and Santana is going to come away the victor in that one.
Yeah, that aggressive style from Santana. Ooh, but it looks like Hotham may not be done. Ooh, thinks about going to the outside, sells him the dummy a little bit. He's going to try to pull the Raikkonen and sweep around the outside, but Santana is too wily for that, and he's able to hold it off.
Such an interesting contrast for Kevin. We often tease him as being the Kimi Raikkonen of GSRC with his unique style of interviews. But on track, like you said, he is no holds barred.
None at all. Just absolutely flat out aggressive.
Well, they're starting to separate, so let's head back to Richards once again, because here comes Duhamel with perhaps the best run we've seen from him lately. And they're heading up into Spoon. Not a whole lot of braking on the way into this corner. So it's not going to give him the shot this time. Maybe coming off the turn, the tires don't seem to be gripping. He falls back slightly, an immediate defensive move from Richards, ducking to the inside of the track.
Yeah, Richards was very wise to that, to try to cut that off. Duhamel trying to poke his nose to the inside a little bit, just get a little bit of clean air on that left front wing. He's got to run here if he's going to try to go for it. That's the question. No, takes a slightly wider angle. Maybe seeing if he can get Richards into a mistake. Richards didn't have the best mid-corner there.
No, but it looks like coming off of it, those tires were just perfect. And he launches away. Duhamel starts to reel him back in with a slipstream, but it's not a long enough straight, at least where he sits now. 3 laps to go. Time's running out. How will this order of 3 wind up? Who is going to get themselves the top 5?
Well, that's the real question here. They continue to seesaw back and forth along the track. Looked like Duhamel there had a little bit of a squirrely moment, middle of the S's, and indeed he's fallen back a little bit here from Richards. Lorente sensing something. He may be on for a pounce.
Oh, this is not good for the 617. It looks like Lorente is going to try and save it for later instead of trying to risky move into the Degners. He backs off. Let's ride on board. Talk us around a lap around the Suzuka circuit here, DJ.
Well, there you can see almost full lock applied to the steering to try to get it. Now, remember, Lorente's going to have to be braking a little bit earlier than you would expect for this because he's got those cars in front. But here is the flat out section. It's a nice sweeping right-hander as you get ready to brake for Spoon. There's really no visible brake marker. You just have to feel it, maybe brush those inside curves, but very, very crucial to get maximum speed on the exit of the corner to set up for this long straight. You get to breathe a little bit here, take a moment to regain your thoughts, and if you're following behind like Lorente is right now, it's really all about trying to get that draft. Now down into 130R, that should be about flat out. I think there was a little bit of a lift there from Lorente, just trying to make sure he didn't mess up in the draft. Brake just after you get under the bridge there for the Casio triangle. Don't take too much curb or carry too much speed in, or the car will want to spin. Now you start to curve back onto the main straightaway. There's not a lot of straight passing here, and I'd love to continue, but that's Duhamel with the move.
He finally got the launch coming off of the Casio triangle, and Richards does not defend. He'll leave it open, finally shuts the door as they come into turns 1 and 2. Brave stuff from the 49.
Yeah, and that really checked up Duhamel. Lorente now all over his gearbox, trying to work this way and that to see if he can find something, but those front tires just not seeming to grip as much. Duhamel now looks like he may be on a little bit of a fight back.
He wants to try that again, I'm sure. Maybe at a different spot instead next time. Oh, no, here comes Lorente, who has got much better pace through the Degner curve. Sure, or excuse me, through a Dunlop curve, rather, I should say. But loses out in the Degners themselves. Down to 2 laps to go, which is actually soon to be the white flag because West is already heading towards 130R.
Yeah, West able to grow that gap out to about 9 seconds back to Holt. We're going to keep our eyes focused here for the moment, see if anything plays out through Spoon.
Had a spin from James Presley, and he was in 8th, but he took a tow. I'm not sure why. His day appears to be over. There's very little time to try and make it back out onto the track for him.
All right, so as these drivers here start to separate out a little bit, there's not really good enough of a run for any of them to make it, but they're only going to have one lap to do it, Joe.
Yep, because this man has already taken that white flag, 9.5 seconds over Holtz. Well, he's increased the gap since we last paid attention to that one. The 14 with no answer to try and keep the green and black number 47 to account. The UK&I driver up a little late right now. And we're going to go back to the battle between Duhamel and Richards, where he finally got by. Let's see where this happened. This was down the front stretch, as Richards almost looked like he got a slowdown penalty.
He did. He absolutely locked up the brakes going into the Casio triangle and went right across the grass, got a slowdown penalty, and I was forced to cede that position over to Sean Duhamel.
As we come back to the lead, already out of hairpin, through the half the lap for Michael West. And he flies down into Spoon, has Nick Colander ahead of him, last car on the lead lap in 17th, to give you an idea of just how many he has lapped and how many have also fallen out. We lost Broomhead, Heffernan, Kita, Bennett, and Marcheschi today, along with, I believe, Presley as our latest DNF. But the sun setting here in Japan late in the day, almost at 6 p.m. virtual standard time here at the track. It's going to be a great run with back-to-back wins to kick off the season as the 47 of Michael West wins here at Suzuka.
Another absolutely stellar drive for West. Holtz looking like he's going to be able to come in and take that second place position. Very, very good drive from him as well.
Close fight still between Duhamel, Richards, and Lorente for that 5th spot. Richards might have lost out on the exit. No, he's good. So Duhamel 5th, Richards 6th, and Lorente just behind him in P7.
Brett Accord, they're doing a good job to come home in P8. That's a good drive. There he is on screen right there. Very good run for the Georgian.
Absolutely. The last driver on the lead lap is in 16th, with James Doherty bringing home the last of them. Oh, we have a battle for 14th, I think. James Carter and Daniel Barnett, very, very close. And I think Barnett might have a shot at this. He's going to send it in down into the Casio triangle. A little bit of coming together. And Carter has to back out of things as Barnett gets himself to 14th at the last moment. As those two come across, that leaves only Doherty, which means our results are through. Let's go through that finishing order as Michael West has taken the victory over Renier Holtz, who I'm not even sure if he showed up at the first round. I have to double check that. Coffray was in 3rd, better than he did back in California, but still only a 3rd after starting this one, holding on to the lead with Dave Peterson, P4. Sean Duhamel is 5th. It's Christopher Richards winding up 6th, Lorente 7th, and Accord P8. Matthew Miles was 9th as Ridgeway rounds out your top 10.
Kevin Santana on a recovery drive was able to come home in 11th, followed by Brian Hotham and Donald Olson in 13th. Daniel Barnett was 14th, followed by James Carter and James Doherty to round out your drivers finishing on the lead lap. James Presley was a lap down in 17th, as was Colander and Joseph Tebben, and then 2 laps down was James Holland.
Then after that, you have the car of Manuel Vargas there in the 21st position, Plord 22nd with Spicer and P23. Now you're getting into the DNFs, unfortunately, in the last few cars. So with that, we're waiting for our drivers to come along for interviews, including our winner, which I believe has now joined us, Michael West. So let's talk to him about today's event. And Michael, congratulations back to back, but yes, certainly looked like you had to fight for this one.
Yes, no, they were, they were definitely pushing me hard through that, first half of the race. As I said last time, it's, you pick up big slipstreams here, which makes it very hard to break that toe. But I'm not quite sure what happened behind me. But, obviously once I got out of the toe through, a fortune of them making a mistake, obviously at that point I was able to just kind of drop the hammer and go a little bit better.
You're up a little late, I believe, over in the UK. So what motivated you to come and compete here?
Obviously, so Jake and Mike had kind of been, asking me if I fancied doing it for a while. And, I just thought, well, what I've got to lose? I'll come have a bit of fun. I tend to go to bed and then get back up again and come do it. And off back to bed, I'll go in a minute.
I think from what I can tell, it looks like you not only nabbed the pole, the bonus for pole this time, but it seems you've got the fastest lap, if my timing and scoring is correct. Are you looking to try and maximize points every round like this? Just try and dominate?
Yeah, I'm always going to go for, every point that's available. Obviously I kind of left fastest lap on the table last week just because I didn't see the point in risking, crashing or clipping a wall for the sake of that 1 point. But having made a mistake on my quali lap and, losing quali, and just through fortune, through nature of being pushed so hard at the start, I've ended up with fastest lap this time. So, we'll have to try and get a clean sweep of it at some point through the season.
Apologies for that. Just saw that I was wrong there, that you started second instead. Well,
yeah.
Regardless, a great race for you today. Another big haul of points. Anybody you want to thank for this one?
Again, just, Britannia, Mike, all the guys that, for obviously getting me involved with it. On to the next one now.
Indeed. That was our winner, Michael West, and I believe that's the only one we're going to get to talk to this evening. So we're going to take a short break, but don't go away. We've got more show yet to come, because up next, it is the Formula Renault 3.5 Pro Series for the Precision Racing League over in Austria. So stick around. Welcome back. We are at the Red Bull Ring now here in Austria for the Precision Racing League Formula Renault 3.5 Pro Series. And qualifying has just begun. That'll give us enough time to quickly run over our points in this series before some times get put down. Let's start with the driver's standings here in the PRL Formula 3.5s. And it is a tie as Renault took a lot of bonus points to keep it up with Andrew Warren. Behind them, you've got Thibaut, Leighton, Ponik, and Fournier rounding out your top five. What about the team's points here, DJ?
Well, Joe, in those teams' points, a little bit more spread out at the top. ASR Esports and Evolve, they're still tied, but a little bit down. You got Final Lap Yellow there, 5 points off. Delta Sport, 3 points off of them with Ninja Trader Esports, only 2 points off them with Madruga Late Night Racers, 4 points off for fourth.
So as we take a look at the track as well, DJ, this one, I said it at the start of the show, quite a contrast.
Very, very much so, where Suzuka is tight and twisty and very technical. This is very much a power circuit, Joe. Lots of good overtaking opportunities. You can especially see it going down into Remus, that long run, as well as going down into the next corner. That's turn 4. You may be able to see a little bit of fight back there through Roush. We've seen some aggressive moves maybe going down into Rent, but I sincerely doubt that we'll see a lot of those today. It's all about just getting the draft right.
See if anybody pulls the draft here in the qualifying, as we've got the 34 of Ponik, our first one that looks like he's going to set a time as he takes that McLaren liveried Renault down towards Gosser. Going to have a lot more laps here in these cars than they did at Suzuka to try and set good times. Looking at the fast drivers running in the 116s.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of quick laps getting set here. Here comes Ponik working his way out of that sort of infield section here. This is just such a great track to see these cars on. You can see them using the massive amounts of downforce that these Formula Renault 3.5s have. Working his way around those final 2 corners. Very tricky. You don't want to pick up an off track there. It's very, very easy to do. But Ponik crosses the line.
A 117.5 for the first time set. Haynes going to come in behind him. Looks like Thibaut able to go faster. Uribe as well on the front row as more drivers start to set them. Going to be tough to try and keep it clean here, though. There's a lot of paved runoff to tempt you into going wide.
And indeed there is, and we've already seen a couple of these drivers having some problems with some lapped traffic in front of them, seeing some more guys come in. Palacio in 9th, Hillard in 10th right now. Here comes Byron Daly to the line. Daly's going to be able to put in an 18.4, and that's going to put him into 9th.
So now we watch Nick Johnston. Looks like he'll get 6th with his lap of a 117.5. How about Renault? Yet to set a time here. Ooh, and he went very far out. I'm not sure if this one's going to count for him. Let's see. As he crosses, it does. Wow, I'm actually quite shocked. Thought it was 4 wheels off for him, but a 17.7 will put him into 8th. He's still got to make up a bit.
He does indeed. There comes Ponik taking that wide line as well. Let's see if he's able to improve, able to get a couple of tenths there out of that. That's going to bump him up to P2.
Okay, so Ponik, once again, looking very, very fast. Well, where's our winner from last time? Looks like, Andrew Warren, unfortunately, not able to be here today, which is good news for Renault because he stole the fastest lap and the pole last time through, as well as the clean race bonus. Oh, I thought I saw a car in the wall. I think that was Fournier at one stage. This is Palacio on your screen sitting in 15th. He put a lap of a 118.7. So Daly is up next, and that lap is not going to be faster.
No, it's not, and neither is it going to be for the number 94 there. That's not going to be a good lap, but let's see if Herbino is able to improve on that 8th place position. Very wide there through the final corner, very wide again through that final exit. Let's see if he can go faster and it'll stick. He does. That's pole.
16.9, first driver to break 117s to Bo. Now has about a 1/10 to make up to try and catch him. As we look at Mark Honig, he comes across 17.2. That's not going to do it, but it will get him into third.
Be pleased with that. He bumps Tiensai Leighton down. Here comes Demetrius Nunez now to the line, currently back in 13th place. He's going to cross over, improve by about 0.8 of a second if that lap sticks, but it doesn't, it looks like. So he's going to have another crack at the apple.
Goes next, and it's not faster. He's slowing. Looks like he's going to try and take some fresh tires, get back out there and go again. Palacio this time by 1:18.4, only gets him up into 15th. We have two drivers that still need a time on the board, Wildridge and Walker, but Walker is not on the track. I think he's just coming back out here in a moment.
And there's Johnston coming across the line. That's going to be provisionally P5 for him. Here comes Diego Marcel, the Brazilian. Looks like this is going to be a bit of a slow lap for him. I think that may have been an out lap. He's currently down in 10th. Let's see if Herbino can improve.
That 16.9 becomes a 16.7. He does improve, stretching his lead over everybody else. Uribe is next. Doesn't get the lap counted. Went a little bit too far outside the boundaries somewhere. Honig up next as he crosses, also suffers the same fate. Times being deleted left and right as Nunez is next, sitting 13th.
And let's see what Demetrius has as he crosses to the line. That's going to be an improvement if it sticks, and it does. That's an 8th place for Nunez provisionally. Looks like Wildridge was able to put a time on the board. That'll put him into 17th.
Aaron Roofs in the 26. Let's see if he can go faster than that 1:19.2. No, he cannot. He will stay last of those who have set a time. See, Barbagaleta is, Galata rather, is out there in the 94. Looks like he doesn't set a better time. So what about Leighton?
Looks like an out lap there for Tiensai. Same with Vicente Sepulveda there. Diego Marcel, though, this could be a good time for him if he's able to cross. Not gonna be faster.
Urbano back out. I think this is his out lap. And Tabo as well. No, that was a faster lap, a 16.5 for Herbino. Didn't count for Tabo. As we once again take a look at Palacio, who is not on a flyer. So he's going to start his next hot lap with about 2 minutes left. Nunez now out of A1 to the line. He sits in 8th place outside of the 4th row, a 17.3, 3/10 quicker, and that gets him up to 5th.
It's a good lap for him. There's Wildridge coming across the line. Looks like he was able to improve there, but it's not going to improve his 17th place parting position. Here is Aaron Roofs. He is currently the last of your qualifiers out on track. Roofs is able to improve with an 18.7, but that's not going to move him.
It came within a 10th. It was awful tight as Nicholas did not go quicker, but Walker still looking for a time. Finally on a hot lap here for the first time in this qualifying, and he nearly spins it. So the 13, I believe, is now done as Marcel is up next. Looks like, ooh, 17.3. That'll put him into 7th. Nicely done as Leighton on an out lap just starts a flyer. Herbino, that one didn't count for him. He gets one last shot at it.
Indeed he does. This is a great nose cam from Palacio, the Georgian, driving it around. You see just how much of that final curbing he's taking, flying to the line right now, able to improve by about a 1/10 of a second, but I don't think that's going to move him from 16th.
Johnston had his lap deleted, so Nunez is next. He's in 5th. Also had his lap taken away, unfortunately. Wildridge, another driver just going too far close to the boundaries. Fournier's counts, but he's off his pace by about 5 seconds. Honig not able to get it in. 20 seconds left. Oh, Hillard, you can see him having a problem. He's done for the qualifying.
Joey Haynes there crosses over, able to improve. That'll bump him up to 9th place. Barbagaleta comes across. That's going to be an improvement for him, but not going to move him out of anything. Let's see if Joe Walker's able to get a time down.
Even if he does, he had a spin at the first corner, so this is going to be a slow one for the 13. And he will line up last no matter what. Checkered flag comes out. Marcel not able to improve. Leighton doesn't either. Herbino does. He is now half a second ahead of Thibault, who has abandoned his lap. He's done for the day. Sepulveda not able to get that time down as he went off track. Palacio still sitting in 16th.
And let's see if he's got anything right now. Comes across the line. That is going to improve by about 0.2 of a second, but not going to move him up. Here comes Nunez.
Nunez up next. Lap doesn't count. Johnston's done. He wasn't happy with the lap. Wildridge behind him in 17th is unfortunately done for the day himself. Ponik abandoning his. That is it for our qualifying. 19 cars taking part today. The question is, who is the quickest over race pace here? Okay, well, it is a cool day out here, and the drivers will have very fast laps and less traffic, but also less track to try and settle it with.
Yeah, indeed they will. It'll be a very, very dicey race, I think. Lots of good overtaking opportunities, and don't be surprised if we see a fight back or two as it goes along.
Okay, so as we head to the starting grid, it is going to be Christophe Herbino who starts it on the pole. It'll be Thibault in second place as Mark Ponik will be in third. Tien Sai Leighton, P4 for him, followed by Nunez in the 5th spot. Nick Johnston will start from 6th. Marcel good enough for 7th in the end. Uribe, who was higher up the order, tumbled downwards and wound up 8th. Joey Haynes will start from 9th, and Sepulveda will round out your top 10.
In 11th, it's going to be Aiden Aquino, followed by Alex Fournier and Nicholas Barbagaleta in 13th. Philip Allard is going to be 14th, followed by Byron Daly and Julio Palacio. Paul Wildridge will be 17th, with Aaron Roofs 18th, and Joe Walker leading up the back of the field in 19th.
Okay, so the drivers now lining up. Again, we need to watch out for those incident points out here because they could wind up getting a drive-through penalty or even being disqualified at this track. So they got to stay tidy. We certainly saw on Monday a number of drivers suffer from the incident limit over in the GT series. Number of them here taking their sweet time getting out to the grid. They only have so much before that green flag will fall, and they've got about a minute left. Hopefully they're happy with those setups, as it's not too much time to try and sit and fiddle with those.
No, they really don't. They've got to kind of get on it here, Joe, if they want to. So we will have to see. Waiting for the last couple of guys to come out here. Pushing this very late, I have to say.
They got about 40 seconds left. Pole sitter's not out there, but Thibault, the outside of the front row, or inside, I guess we should say, is already sitting on the grid. Waiting on Aquino, Uribe, Herbino, and Nicholas in the 94. So, with a somewhat hazy day here in the Alps, it's beautiful scenery, but the sun's going to continue to rise and heat up this track. There we go, everybody out on the grid. The engines now start to rev as the lights come up. It's round 2, and the green flag is out. Off the line, Herbino much better than Thibault. He tries to cover off to the racing line. Ponik a little bit boxed in. Leighton breaks early. Oh, and he's going to get in the back of Ponik. That's going to send somebody else having to take evasive maneuver to get around him. Everybody else is clean through.
Oh, yeah, and there's Ponik spinning again in the background, but a clean getaway there for Christophe Herbino. Very, very good run for him. Thibault trying to catch up. A couple of wide action there in the back.
Not sure who that was that had to go very wide to avoid him, but it was costly. So Herbino ahead by about 1.2 seconds over to Bo, and then it's already 2 seconds back to Johnson, who's trying to hold back Leighton. He's aggressive, coming down into Gosser, and he's gonna be able to get to the inside. Can he finish the job? Yes, he can.
Ooh, so he's able to hold it off there. Good run for him. A little bit farther back, there's some action as well, but there we ride on board as this battle doesn't seem like it's going away quite yet.
Ooh, and this has not been the best of starts for Johnston, struggling here to get this car up to speed as Marcel almost got into the back of him. Now Uribe is going to be able to take advantage. And in fact, Johnston on the attack for Leighton there for a brief moment. Through Rent, Uribe is going to take 5th over Marcel.
Indeed he is. That's a good run for him as we get ready to start this second lap.
And after one lap, Herbino with a 2-second gap already to Bo behind Tim. Leighton up into third. We got cars going way off on the first corner. Johnston, one of them. And then Uribe seeming to lose out. Here comes Marcel. He's going to blast into fourth, and he is easily ahead of the rest. Haynes also finding some spots as Uribe has to stay defensive.
Uribe trying to find it right there, holding him off pretty well, but it looks like Marcel's going to have a little bit of a go. Everybody's starting to get a little dicey.
Now that's a look to the inside from the white car of Joey Haynes on Marcel. Down into Gosser, the long way around. Great defense from the 913. They're going to stay side by side as they come into the infield. We had a big crash behind them. Multiple cars involved, including Nick Johnston, and it looks like Nicholas Barbacalata. We're going to look at the 94 first. It starts just in front of him with Johnston and Fournier making contact.
Indeed it does. So here is that replay, as you said, checking it out right now. Whoa, big kerfluffle there.
Aquino gets involved, unfortunately. Looks like Sepulveda lost a nose because of it. So this really trickled down the order. We're going to watch on board with Sepulveda here. Give this another shot.
So there you see. Oh, yeah, nowhere to go.
Everybody checking up in front of him. Just couldn't really escape it, unfortunately. He had to come down pit lane. He's taking a new nose, and we'll see if he's able to come back out, because that was a hefty hit. Meanwhile, on screen, this is for 8th position. Woo, late move from Nunez on Hillard. He's going to go around the outside. Both of them locking him up mid-corner. Great defense from Demetrius.
Very, very good defense, and it's going to hold out here. We'll have to see if he's able to make this work. There's a great shot of what you can see, trying to stick it to the inside, but loses a little bit of ground there in that arrow wash.
Wildridge now on the back of the 555. Hard to pass here in the second half of the lap. Not impossible, but he drops back as they come up to Rent.
All right, jumping back up here to Haynes and Uribe right now as they work their way forward, trying to see if Haynes has got anything. Good runs for both out of that first corner.
In front of them, that's Marcel in P4. Haynes defensive at first, swings back to the racing line, up into Remus. Looks like Uribe not able to attack, at least at this stage. Haynes getting a little wheel spin off the corner, but he manages it. Certainly won't help him get closer to Marcel, but Uribe won't be able to attack here.
Yeah, Uribe's not going to be able to do it, and not able to get a good run there going down into the corner, so that's not going to work for him. He's just going to have to hold it here in the dirty air and see if he can make anything work.
So as they swing through the infield portion of the track, down through the valley, it's almost a bowl shape here in the middle of the circuit. Ooh, very close to Haynes. Uribe, he's going to take a look, coming up to Rent. He's going to try and send it side by side, and he's got it.
Does indeed. A very late move there from Uribe. I said you can maybe make a move there if you're aggressive, and you're Pablo there proving that that aggression pays off.
Absolutely. by the way, that scheme that we saw on Warring last week that is on his teammate here this week as well. Apparently it comes from an anime named Capeta. And I haven't seen it before, so I'm not sure why it looks so familiar, but I'm eager to go and check it out when I get the opportunity.
Always good to learn a few things here during the course of a broadcast. But there you see those drivers starting to stretch out a little bit. Some decent fights developing up, but we may start be looking at a little bit of fuel strategy here, Joe, as some drivers maybe want to just back off of that throttle. This is a course where you spend a lot of time on the loud pedal.
No doubt, and some very heavy braking zones too. Just having to go through the gears, using all that more fuel. Will that give us another thin pit window, or will the short lap time around here allow drivers to come in with a bit of a margin, as we've got 34 laps total here today, and we're only on lap 6, and Renault has already stretched it to about 4 seconds ahead of Thibaut. We're going to take a look at him. He may not have taken the win, but he at least is tied on the lead on points, and his main rival is not here today. Renault used to running up at the front, having been very fast in the LMP2 prototypes on Tuesday nights previously.
Yeah, and looking very equally quick here in these machines, the Formula Renault 3.5. So good job here for Renault as he dives it down there into that corner leading into the infield section.
Got a bit of a battle here for 9th. This is Paul Wildridge with Hillard behind him. Now, Wildridge has taken advantage of some of the dire situations for drivers in front of him with the accidents and cars spinning off. He's already up to 9th from 17th on the grid. Not too bad up there.
That's a great run for him, I do have to say. So very, very exciting to see him moving his way up through the field. And he certainly has his work cut out from Hillard trying to catch up to him. But Palacio not too far behind. Is that a car off there, Joe?
Yeah, that was Daly. And he's going to lose spots to them. An unusual spot for him to be off course, though. I'm trying to see. I think he's going to get the curbs in a bad way. Here it is. Oh.
Yeah, just carried a little bit too much speed there through that corner, and that caused him to run over. I think he may have actually bottomed out on the curb. Yep, that's exactly what happened.
It's a bit of a shame. He's in a fight right now. If we come back live with another man that's been off track before this race, Ponik, who attacked but not successfully, and this is bringing along Nicholas in the 94 as well.
He's going to make a move to the outside here into that heavy braking zone up into Remus, but he looks like Ponik's able to stick it out. Has to back off a little bit. There is Barbagaleta trying to see if he can maybe get anything in the draft. Love these rear view mirrors. You can just see the exhaust coming out.
Once again, defensive in that 34. Ponik holding him at bay and a little too wide. Two wheels just brushing the dirt. Nicholas has to back out of it, unfortunately.
Yeah, so he's not really going to be able to do much there, but he'll have to see if he can maybe gather it back up. That is obviously Daly in front of him. Daly's got more pace than Ponik, but we'll have to see if Ponik can use that draft to his advantage.
I almost think those two maybe should work together a little bit instead of fighting each other, because they're both a little out of position. And, Daly going awful wide, coming through Rents, and also struggling, coming through A1, so Ponik smells blood in the water. He doesn't care if they need to work together. He is going to get ahead and try and stretch away to gain some more positions, but he breaks early in comparison, and once again, Daly will deny him.
Will indeed, and that may set him up for a pass here from Barbagaleta, who's coming up behind. If he's going to be late on the brakes, he will know that Ponik was a little bit late. Ponik goes defensive. No, he goes aggressive, trying to get the move down the inside of Daly. He's got the overlap. Daly gets squarely off of the corner.
I think that's going to do it that time, unless, Daly will get at least a decent slipstream. This will force Mark to try and defend, coming down into Gosser. And around the outside, he nearly held it. I thought for a second that Daly was going to pull it off.
Thought he was too there for a minute, but not able to make it work. Oh, aggressive line there into Roush, trying to see what he can do, but not able to push his luck quite yet.
Okay, so now that Ponek's got some clear air, can he start to try and chip his way into that third place that he would probably like to have back, where he started this whole thing and unfortunately lost at the very start of the race with a big contact to the back of the car into turn one. This is settled out a little bit. Let's head back to what we were watching before, Wildridge and Hillard, because now they've got Palacio all fighting for 8th place with them. Oh, sorry, we just had a problem with Marcel. The 913 off track coming out of Remus.
Jump back to check out the replay here. This is Marcel coming into the heavy braking zone, gets onto the binders, catches a little bit of that curb, that sends it, oh, and he bottomed out.
Another one. I had made a note for myself that there is a number of curbs around here that the drivers have to watch out for, and already we've seen a few fall victim to it. Even in real life, they often will tell the drivers to stay off the curbs. Apparently, they need some crew chiefs here to give the same reminder.
Yeah, indeed. It's really catching these guys out here today. As you can tell, Marcel here in 6th. He's got some gaps in front and behind him, so it's going to be a bit of a minute before he sees any more action.
Wouldn't you know it, as we were watching that replay, Wildridge lost the position in Remus, of all places. He went wide as well, and Hillard made an easy pass to get by him. So Wildridge is now demoted to 9th. He's hailing from your neck of the woods. Well, at least your hometown neck of the woods. A Hoosier out here racing today.
Indeed, always glad to see another Hoosier out on track. Don't call us an Indianan or we will get very angry.
Ours is difficult because we're called Buckeyes, but then some people assume that you're a football fan if you're named that. Not all of us are. So I digress as we watch the 6th place driver of Marcel, who had his own issues. He's gathered up the car and is continuing on. When will we see pit stops for this 40-minute race? Once again, turning our attention now to Wildridge.
Indeed, Wildridge trying to hold in on Hillard here as Herbino sets the fastest lap of the race. Gap's down to about 0.7 of a second, so he's doing a good job, able to gain a little bit of time there as he pushes forward.
Keeping him honest. Wildridge wants this one back. Palacio. Ooh, is that? Oh, that's Ponik. That's Mark on him. So I said that Mark had some ground to make up. Well, he's already done that. And he is sizing up the 194 to crack into the top 10. Looks like there might be a fight for position behind them as well. Yeah, Daly almost losing out a spot as we come through the very tricky turn 1. We now hop off the car of Mark to watch all 4 continue their tussle.
Yeah, and this battle getting very, very feisty here. Ooh, Ponik taking another look there. Is that going to be him making the move on Palacio? It is. He's able to get the car by, keeps it wound down, and he's got another spot.
Palacio almost lost 2 right there as Daly had to get to the inside of him and check up. He'll get another bite of the apple as Byron goes from defense to attack. But he can't attack twice. Wasn't close enough down to go, sir.
Yeah, so they're going to stay single file here through the infield, just waiting to see the opportunity to attack. This is the part where you've got to be careful, Joe. Like I said, this is some relatively sweeping corners in this area, not a lot of heavy braking zones, so it's very much a situation where you have just got to watch out for that aero wash and get it right.
Certainly puts them apart from one another quite often. They're going to go past that pit entry. Nobody interested in taking the early stop amongst this 4. It was pretty exciting last time by, but it's broken apart. Let's see if coming through Lauda will bring them back together.
Well, we'll see. There they come out. They may not pull together, but a little bit of a battle behind as it looks like Daly may be trying to make a move here on Palacio. Indeed, he's going to dart out to the inside.
Palacio not defending inside down there for Daly as they park it at the apex of Remus. And he gets a little bit of wheel spin. I thought he was going to have the job done. That's going to slow him up, but behind him, Palacio having to defend once again from the 94. He gets the slipstream to help him forward, but now he's boxed in. And it looks like Nicholas not willing to attack. So one position down for Julio, and Daly up to 11th.
Yeah, so all that battling, just allowing for these guys to really flip-flop back and forth and really change up this order.
Wow, Ponik wasted no time once he was past them. Whoa, and there was a mistake from the 94. Same place. Although I think it was a little bit of a different cause.
All right, let's see this replay here. Wide entry, car looked a little bit squirrely. Just carried too much speed through the corner, I think.
Locked it down, but it was already turning on him. I think that was Roofs coming up behind him that got an eyeful. Nicholas is going to pit this time. This takes us back to Hillard now. Oh, and it's not just Wildridge, it is Hillard as well that Ponik has caught. He's already spying potentially 8th place. This has been a great recovery up to this point.
Yeah, really and truly has for him, riding on board with Ponik there. You can see a little bit of a bad exit off of the corner there for Wildridge. That'll slow him up. Good move from Ponik, poking his nose to the inside, just trying to see if he can fill his mirrors up a little bit, maybe getting his head ever so slightly, but that aero wash letting Wildridge pull away.
Love watching the onboards of these cars. They're so intense looking with the speed that they're able to carry. The drivers trying to hold on to it through every corner, down through A1, looking for the launch. It's decent for Ponik. I'm not sure that he'll be able to catch Wildridge before the first corner as he tows him in, takes a little bit of a look, and then thinks twice about it.
Yeah, so not going to be able to get it to work there. Ooh, maybe a good run here. He's got some good speed off the corner. Not sure how well he's going to be able to close that up. Looks like he's going to be a little far back unless he's very, very aggressive on the brakes.
Well, he tries to be aggressive, but it doesn't seem to pan out as they come across the crest and then down the hill towards Gosser. He's keeps showing himself in the mirrors. This time, though, he likes to be late on the brakes. He's pulled this move elsewhere. Can it stick this time into Gosser? Yes, it does. So, up into P9 for Ponik.
Ponik really just having a great drive here and showing how it is. Ooh, that even threw Wildridge off the line there, and that's going to put him in effect of getting attacked by Byron Daly behind.
Oh, he gets a lot of curb. Daly sees it. He pounces. Byron now gets back into the top 10. He's got to finish it up here into Rent, and it looks like he'll get the job done.
Yeah, so there he's got it. Good job for him. That's Wildridge on the back foot, but if he can get this first corner right up through Lauda, maybe have a little bit of a run up the hill.
Such a deceptive corner, that first turn over the blind crest. Didn't work out for Wildridge. He drops back from Daly. Will this finally settle out what has been an epic battle amongst those drivers?
Here he goes, working his way up right now. Daly looks like he may have a little bit of a go here on Ponik, so this may not be done quite yet, even with the front of the two of them.
Looks a little far back to me. So finally breaks down into Gosser. Ooh, he's very deep into the corner, maybe too deep in that 06, getting ambitious there. This is all happening behind Christoph Herbino, who you can see set another fastest lap of the race. He's got 7.5 seconds over to Bo behind him. Let's jump a little between what we're watching and the leader, because Joey Haynes is under threat as Marcel wants into the top 5.
Indeed, that's Marcel closing in behind. Very, very good little battles going on here. Gotta say, everybody keeping this nice and close. Marcel closing in within 0.3 of a second.
Now the car behind them, that's Nicholas. That's not for position. He's a lap down, and he's got a good run. Here goes Diego. Deep on the brakes. Oh, too deep. He goes very wide. Will we see a fight back from Joey Haynes? Doesn't look like he got the launch he would have wanted, but he will get the slipstream as 33 rides behind, covering off the inside. Marcel wants to defend. He's now got to make the apex here as well, and he is going to make it stick. Move up to 5th for the 913.
All right, there you go. Good move for Marcel.
Boy, a lot of, as the NASCAR commentators would say, comers and goers here today. Drivers trying to get back into the position. Another fastest lap for Christophe Herbinot up at the front.
Herbinot just absolutely laying down lap after lap here. This is really, really an impressive run for him.
Considering he's halfway through the race, yes, I know the fuel has burned off, but man, the tires must be holding up pretty well for the 92 to continue to topple his own fastest laps each time around.
Yeah, he's just doing a great job of keeping everything nice and easy and together. Gotta say,
Wildridge had an off. Sorry to interrupt. We were watching his great race, and I think this is through A1, the final corner.
Yeah, brings it in, catches a lot of that entrance curb, and that completely throws him off.
Stopped it just in time before he hit the tire barrier, but he falls to 13th because of that. Roofs, Palacio, both able to get by him. There you see the 9 continuing on. Been a bit of a rough day for him thus far.
Yeah, not the best one for him down into 13th.
Officially halfway through this race. Now, is Nunez faster than Haynes here? I'm checking the lap times. Yes, way faster than him.
Yeah, Nunez has got a lot of ground to make up, especially on that last lap. Looked like about 0.8 of a second, so he's now got it down to 0.8 of a gap. Very, very good run. Let's see if he can keep on this.
Right on board with the Brazilian driver. Up and over Lauda. That one looked a little clumsy, though. Still at about 0.7 of a second behind. Last time for Haynes, the 19.3 versus the 18.2 personal best for Nunez. And in front of them, once again, lapped car of the 94, which is kind of in an awkward spot for them. Let's see if he pulls aside and lets them past.
Let's see indeed if he does. Doesn't look like it at that moment.
He's not really interested. This could get frustrating for Joey. Like we see in Formula One, the aero wake might prevent him from getting closer like he wants to.
Yeah, indeed it could. Definitely preventing him up on that. So that is the problem you have sometimes with these lapped cars, that it is one thing pulling up to him and it's another one to really get it past.
The blue flags here on iRacing are informational. He is not required to pull out of the way immediately. He just is not allowed to hamper them intentionally. Just has to let them by at the first convenient time. But they're not on top of him yet, so he doesn't exactly have to pull over.
No, he does not. So we will have to see. And as you said, they are informational. He is not required to pull over by rule.
And gets still within about half a second of Joey Haynes as they hit Remus one more time. Gonna ride on board with Demetrius. Once again, looking from the helmet cam. A little bit of wheel spin coming off of there.
Yeah, big. That's something we haven't really talked about too much here, Joe. It is very, very tricky. A lot of power in these cards. And it's very tricky to control that amount of power that you have.
Yeah, these are the big boy cars. And you got to be careful with that throttle. It is on a knife's edge. So he continues to ride behind. Love from the onboard shots, just the incredible views that you can see around the mountains in this track. Very glad to have it on iRacing finally. Plunging through Rent one more time and onto the main straight. Are they catching Marcel as well? Did he have a bad lap last time? No? No, that was consistent for him, so they're just starting to run him down.
Yeah, they are just closing in the best they can. These gaps are really starting to minimize, and with only about 15 laps to go here, kind of running in on time. These guys have got to be worried about pit stop cycles starting to come into play.
Watching from onboard Diego now. The good news for him is that's the lapped car between them, as that was a slip up from Haynes. Here comes Nunez. He's going to have the best shot as of late to try and get himself into 6th. Haynes first covers him off, then leaves the door open. Here comes Demetrius trying to step through the thresholds. He gets a foot in. He tries to keep the door open, and he's going to be able to completely go through as Haynes eventually gives up the ghost.
Not able to do it. As there you see again, Christoph Herbenos setting another fastest lap of the race, just absolutely dominating out front.
You mentioned 15 laps to go, now 14 laps to go. At what stage do we get drivers into pit lane? Because we've only seen Barbagaleta, and he did not take a scheduled stop, as we can tell, with the 32nd time in his box.
Yeah, so that'll be a quick one for him. Focusing in here, though, this is Haynes getting a little fun.
Yeah, that's Nunez in front of him, trying to get the spot back. He's going to look around the outside, coming up to Remus as they come in and brake hard. Oh, trying to cut underneath. Can he make it stick? It's a drag race from here. This is going to be fun into a heavy downhill braking zone. Haynes gets the advantage, both with the inside and a nose ahead. Nunez could try to fight back, and he does, taking it deep into the corner, but the long way around is not going to work.
No, it's not. He is going to be forced onto the back foot there, as he's going to make it try it again.
Some fantastic racing between cars out here after a stunner that we witnessed at round 1. This has been great here too, and I have an answer to my question. Thibaut is the first to bite.
All right, well, there we go. Thibaut diving on into the pits here on lap 22. We continue to watch this battle.
Marcel is in 2. So will anybody else join them? Doesn't look like the 2 directly behind will, but Hillard will come in. Oh my goodness, this is getting intense here between Nunez and Haynes. Joey really wants this spot back, and once again he gets the slipstream, but he doesn't get the desired line. Oh, a lot closer to the inside. Maybe pinched too hard down to the bottom. There is Nunez. No, he makes that line work.
That is very, very impressive, Joe. I did not think he was going to be able to get that to stick, but it doesn't quite look like this is done yet. A little bit of a fight back coming around the outside again.
Hasn't worked for many drivers there in Degosser. And yeah, Joey Haynes falls back. They're promoted up to 4th and 5th, but remember, they still have to take their pit stop. Thibaut back out in P6, Marcel in 10th.
Yes, we'll have to see. As we've said, that pit stop delta about 30 seconds. I can also report Paul Wildridge has come in and out as of right now.
They're waiting for the top 5 to pit in. Well, one of them is headed in. Yeah, Uribe in the 23. Looks like Nunez continues. So does Haynes. Opponent going to stay out. So does Daly. So only Uribe on this lap finds his stall. Thibaut easily passed him. Is he going to be fighting with Marcel maybe here? Nope, he's going to be out easily in front of him too.
Yeah, so that's going to be pretty easy in and out for him as we see it. Keeping on watching here on this battle for P3 right now. Good stuff across the board from both of them.
Certainly hard racing from the pair of them. Herbenos stays out for yet another lap. I think I just saw that Ponick announced he is going to be pitting this time.
I heard that message as well, so he'll be coming in from P6. Remember that charge up through the field that he has been having. Be interesting to see where he cycles out with some of the guys who have already pitted.
And because some of those up at the front have pitted, the gap between P1 and P2 looks pretty monstrous right now. Herbino and Leighton are 21 seconds apart. But remember, both of them do still need to pit. And looks like Nunez is in. So is Haynes. We heard Ponick mention it. He follows through with that. Daly as well.
Yeah, a lot of guys coming on in here, waiting for Palacio and Walker behind if they will potentially pit, but we follow on board. There is your leader.
Herbino coming down through the infield section, just waiting on him, Leighton, and Walker. But Walker is in, so it's only 2 more with 10 laps to go at the line. Ooh, Herbino, a very late call and actually has to go through the grass. Will that cost him?
Ooh, I hope that's not an unsafe pit entry for him. That could really, really cost him some time as we are just waiting for Tiensai Leighton to potentially come in now, as he would be the last of the drivers to do so.
Yeah, Tabo is in the infield. Pit stop times are between 5 and 7 seconds on average. Herbino, I'm watching the timer. Up to 7. It's long. I think it was an unsafe pit entry. Oh, and even though he built up a gap, I don't know if it's going to be enough to keep Tabo behind him. 16 seconds. This could mean the lead for the 37, 22 seconds. It's still climbing. He's not out yet. And Tabo is by. Tabo is our new leader.
Oh my goodness gracious. There's Tiensai Leighton coming out of the pits. Leighton beat Herbino out.
That'll give him second. Tiensai, not only has he gotten very good in the prototypes, but my goodness, has he become a monster in the open wheelers, finally returning to the track after 45 seconds in pit lane, and that puts him into 6th place.
It does indeed. He's going to have a little bit of competition there, I think, from Joey Haynes potentially, but he's only got 10 laps to do this. We're going to have to see just how much power Christoph Herbino is able to put through those tires.
Going to watch on board Haynes as he gives chase. I don't think he's going to be able to run him down. Herbino's fastest lap, a 16.7. Compare that to the leader right now. His fastest lap, a 17.8, a full second faster compared to Christoph Herbino.
Very, very impressive times from them, but not from Herbino. That just absolutely killed him. Yeah, you can already see that gap starting to balloon out with Joey Haynes. Herbino's got a lot of ground to make up here. Joey's got about 2 seconds to even get back into the top 5.
Yeah, 25 seconds to the leader, so I don't think the win is on the cards for the 92. A podium, maybe, if he's really pushing hard with 9 laps to go. Leighton giving chase on that leader. And we were watching a lot of Wildridge before. Well, he's side by side with Ponick. This is for 11th. Ponick tries to cut back, but he doesn't have it.
Good move there from Paul Wildridge. The Hoosier showing some very, very savvy moves around this Red Bull ring, I've got to say. But Ponick may not be done. Starts to take a look to the inside of Rents. Decides to back out of it, though. Got to say pretty wisely.
Yeah, Mark's tried a few different moves here, so he's got some things up his sleeve. But he's got to be safe as he starts to approach once again using the slipstream and a good run off of A1. As he approaches Lauda, he's not close enough that he's happy with the attack, so he'll stay behind and he loses ground.
Yeah, loses a little bit of ground there. Not going to be able to keep up the assault as much as he would like to. Not really able to get anything flowing here unless he's super late on the brakes. Pokes his nose to the inside to maybe think Wildridge was going to go for it, but able to fight it off. That may cost him some exit speed.
So as they fly down the hill one more time, separated by about half a second. For those curious, it is... Oh! Something happened to Ponick. Was that a mistake? I think it was.
Yeah, he's off into the gravel there, Joe. So we're going to ride on board with him now. This is going down into the very, very heavy braking zone here. Gets onto the binders, a little bit of wiggle on the steering wheel. Oh, car just snapped on him.
And he overcorrected. Went right out into the gravel. And he is sent to 14th after starting third. Boy, the day just went wrong from almost the word go. As we take a look at Herbino, he's already run away from Haynes and caught up to Nunez. Not going to be close enough for an attack down into Gosser. Does he dare? Coming up to Power Horse. I don't think so this time.
Yeah, he's not going to go into it there. He's got to just back off a little bit. Tries to go. Whoa!
Big mistake from Nunez. Almost cost him the spot right then and there. But look at this. I don't think he's going to fight this. Does he have to? A little bit of a look. Herbino down to the inside of Rentz. And, oh no! And contact between them. Nunez not expecting Herbino to slide in front quite that quickly. Hopefully there's no damage between the pair of them. Looks like they're able to continue on. Herbino is into 5th now.
Is indeed. So that's him up into the top 5 on this recovery drive. Now he is going to have about 8.6 seconds to go and get up there. So that's going to be a very, very tough one. Yeah, not sure if he's got any rear wing damage there on that.
Marcel running laps about 18.3, 18.5, 18.4. Pretty consistent. 17.5 in there for Herbino. As his quickest since the pit stop. It's possible he'll have to really hustle, but it'll come down to the last lap. And if he does, that'll get him 4th, just outside the podium. But man, that pit entry wound up being the decisive moment of this race.
Yeah, it really did, Joe. And unexpectedly, Herbino, who has just been so in control this entire time, it's not the kind of mistake I would have expected from him.
Already down to 6 laps to go. Thibaut starting on the front row. Didn't seem to have the legs to try and chase down Herbino, but he didn't need to. Marc-Antoine just basically put him in and let the chips fall where they may. And as it looks right now, they're going to fall into a P1.
And sometimes that's all you need to do, Joe. Just keep driving your own race and let your rivals have a mistake or two.
What's interesting is he'll be the only one to be on both podiums if it finishes as is. Herbino, if he even if he gets to 4th, he's going to be just outside of it. And then Waring isn't here today, of course. But Tiensai Leighton is probably going to do pretty good after today in the points. He got a 4th place over at the first round at Road America and has a 2nd place on his hands right now.
Yeah, very good drive from Tiensai, and I have to say, he is one of the most improved drivers we have seen over the course of our coverage here on GSRC and the Precision Racing League. You know, he came in and he was outside the top 5, maybe being a top 10 driver when we first saw him in the prototypes. By the end of last season, Joe, he was kind of constantly fighting up there for top 5s and even podiums, and once again, putting in an absolutely stellar drive today here in this Formula Renault 3.5.
And remember, he led the championship for a good chunk of it last season, too. So, yeah, Leighton has flowered here. He has bloomed. And he's about 4.5 seconds behind Thibaut, which is not a bad gap. As we take a look at the 3rd place driver, Uribe. Certainly had his fair share of excitement here today. In fact, he's started from 8th. Has gained 5 positions, some of those a little bit from attrition, but did have to fight for it throughout this race.
Yeah, certainly did. We saw him involved in some good battles here and there. And once again, you know, we always talk about some of the tracks that offer up some of the best racing. And this new edition of the Red Bull Ring, well, we've covered a couple of races here, and all of them have been pretty spectacular.
Yeah, I think this was a fantastic addition. Looks like we got a battle for 12th is just settled out. It looks like Walker, unfortunately, went a little wide through the first corner. Let's take a look at the replay as the 13 demonstrating just how tricky it is through Lauda.
Oh, Beau just running a little afoul of that and getting over those sausage curbs may actually have hurt him even more. That may have clipped those front wings.
Hopefully he doesn't have too much damage. It's been just a steady day for the 13. Credit to him. He's certainly gained a lot of spots from where he started at the very back of the grid. And at least he'll see the checkered flag, which we can't say for guys like Fournier, Aquino, Sepulveda, and Johnston, who are officially done for the day. 4 cars have retired from this race. 15 left running on the track.
And the top of those runners there, the 37 of Marc-Antoine Thibault, we talked about him earlier, piloting his way out of the infield section and going into Rindt. He'll be coming to the line with 3 to go here.
Speaking of which, remember I said how close it was going to be with Marcel and Herbinot? It's down to 3.5 seconds. He has, in fact, been chopping away at that 1 second per lap margin I mentioned. So it will potentially come down to that last lap on whether or not he can make a pass.
It might indeed. He's certainly chopping away the best he can, riding on board here with Herbinot down, as you said, under 3 seconds, 3 laps to go. He is quick. This could be fun.
Down to 2.3 seconds. Last lap for Diego, 18.3. Herbinot, 17.2. 1.1 seconds taken out of it as he steers it through Remus. Let's see if he can continue to try and pull in enough. I think we're down to 2 to go pretty soon. Thibault is currently coming up towards Rindt now as well.
Yeah, he is working his way around. 3 laps to go, and this continues to close. This is going to be fun, Joe.
Yeah, he's got it at 2.2. Looks like middle of the lap, not quite as strong maybe for Christoph. So that might be the saving grace for Diego here late in the going. Boy, Barbagaleta has been on quite a run. He's been fighting with Wildridge, and they're going to go side by side. This is for 11th. Nicholas recently overtook Walker. He wants another, but he's going to have to go around the outside. Or no, that's Wildridge in the blue machine around the outside. So Nicholas gets the spot.
Able to make it work there. Good job for Nicholas. Wildridge has had just that back and forth race that we've covered pretty darn well. So a little sad to see him falling back through the order.
Ooh. Diego's responding to Christoph. Said his personal best of the race is 17.8. That is way quicker than what he was running on the earlier laps. He must have taken a look at his timing and scoring on his machine and got the word for the hurry up.
Yeah, I think he certainly did. Starting to put in those times, that gap holding steady, so Herbinot may not be able to crack in as much as we thought he was.
He's going to have one more lap to do it because Thibault just took the white flag. 2.5 seconds ahead of Leighton. Now, Leighton's been closing down too. Wasn't that at 4 seconds before?
Yes, it was. So Leighton's got a little bit of work to do. I kind of think that may be a little bit too much for him to actually close in on, but certainly getting close.
Remember last week we saw Waring, or heard Waring say that he had to fuel save a little bit. Wonder if Marc-Antoine is suffering with the same thing, but Leighton just went wide coming into Remus. So unfortunately that'll cost him some valuable time. Even if Marc-Antoine has to slow up for the fuel, I think Tianzai cost himself there.
Yeah, I think he may have definitely cost himself. So looks like this is going to be relatively smooth sailing here for Thibault.
And in the meantime, Herbinot still 1.5 seconds back. I don't think he's got the pace to try and drag himself up to Diego to take that 4th spot. He'll have to settle for 5th unless he gets a big mistake out of Marcel. Meanwhile, this man in the number 37, out of the last 2 corners of the track, started in second, was running in second for the majority of the race, but he'll finish in first by avoiding the mistakes that others fell to. A win for Thibaut in Austria. Leighton behind him by 1.7 seconds in the end with Uribe. Man, top three, only 3.3 seconds apart. As Nunez under threat. Here comes Joey Haynes.
Haynes trying to make a move here, seeing what he can do on Nunez, but he messed up that final corner. He's going to have to stay back in 7th.
As Nunez squeaks by the fruit of his loom, and Haynes has to settle for 7th. We've got a few more coming across, but it looks like no battles amongst them. 13 wound up finishing on the lead lap today. Not too bad considering the short lap length. That means it's time to go to a quick break here on the Global Sim Racing channel. We'll come back with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews, so stick around. Welcome back to the Red Bull Ring Round 2 in the PRL Formula Renault 3.5 Pro Series. Wound up going to Marc-Antoine Thibaut, who basically was handed the lead after our leader for much of it, Herbino, had a mistake on pit entry. Tiensai Leighton with a quiet run to second was also followed by Pablo Uribe, who didn't have as quiet of a run, at least until the latter half of the race, and got himself on the podium. Diego Marcel was fourth with Christophe Herbino. As we mentioned, he was the fastest car on the track for the majority of this race, but he got a penalty for an unsafe pit entry and fell to fifth. Nunez was P6 with Haynes right behind him in seventh. Daly finished eighth as Hillard was ninth. Palacio rounds out your top 10.
In 11th, it was Nicholas Barbagaletta, followed by Paul Wildridge, who had an up and down race there. Joe Walker and Mark Ponick finished a lap down after that early lap squabble. Aaron Roofs unable to finish 3 laps down, as were the rest of your drivers.
That takes us to our winner here, or excuse me, our third place finisher here today, Pablo Uribe. Pablo, boy, you had some fun in the first half of the race, but it seemed like it calmed down a little bit for you in the second half.
Yeah, for sure. The car itself is kind of wicked, so it's hard to measure whatever you want to do at the first of the start, at the beginning of the start. So just try to keep it together. All the guys are pretty quick, so just try to keep it together. And the car with the laps start to build up, so and settle down. So at the half and since the half until the end of the race, improved way better. The car was way better.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how long does it take the tires to really come together in this car? Is it up within a lap, or do you have to give it a bit before you can really push?
Yeah. If you want to try from the beginning, you can for sure, but it's not. It's pretty thin line between the nice tire warm and it depends on the track and the temperatures but I don't know, 3-4 laps is like the tires start to build up and get some good grip of it.
First 2 rounds have been at tracks with at least a little bit of runoff around most of them. Road America was a bit punishing, but now we head to Montreal in a week's time. Are you nervous setting off to a street course in these things, or you feel like you can handle that place?
Yeah, it's going to be tricky for all of us for sure, but I love it. I love hard tracks and street tracks. So no, bring it on, and there will be with all the team trying to get the best result possible.
Well, we'll look out for you. Another podium here today, and well done. Anybody you'd like to thank?
Yeah, from all the guys from the team, my special person in the north, and no, it's not all the guys that we are pushing everyone together. We had bad luck with the other guys, but for sure we're gonna make it up in the next races.
Oh, congratulations. That was the number 23 car who went from 8th on the grid up to 3rd. Is a pretty good day for him. So I think, oh, no, we do have someone coming in. Is this our winner? Marc-Antoine Thibault. Trying to get a name here. Apologies. Trying to get a name of who we've got in with us. Okay, this is Marc-Antoine Thibault. And congratulations on the victory. This is, you're the only person of the drivers in both fields to finish on the podium both times. So that's got to bode well for you.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I'm quite happy on how the things turns out for me at the moment. And it was quite a surprise victory. And I tried like a pit stop with a different strategy that might not be like the winning strategy, but it ended up paying. I don't know what happened to Christoph, but yeah, pretty happy still.
I have to imagine. So, I mean, has anybody told you what happened at all to him at this point?
No, not at all. I've seen him like losing a lot of time in the pit, so I started pushing, and I realized that something was happened to him, so that's where I gained the position.
Yes, he had a penalty, we believe, for an unsafe pit entry, and that's what caused that. At the end, though, Tiensai Leighton started to gain on you. He cut it down from about 4 seconds to a little over 1 second. Were you kind of easing it home, or was he making you sweat?
I thought I would have advantage at the end because I was on new tires, but I think he did a pretty good job pushing at the end, and it was kind of hard for me to be consistent. I think when I fight for the first, it's always harder to keep the car on track.
Yeah, so much more pressure there on the driver in those sorts of situations. But that was an impressive run, kept it together. You've got a third and, yes, a third and a win. So are you going to get more wins, or are you going to try and complete it with a second in Montreal?
Well, at Montreal, it's my own track, so I think I can compete for the win, but we'll see about that.
Look forward to seeing you up at the top. Is there anybody you want to thank for this victory?
Yeah, of course. Advanced SimRacing is my sponsor, and it also sponsor the league. So a big thanks for them. It allows us to race on this condition and in SimRacing.
Indeed. So that was our winner, the 37 of Marc-Antoine Thibault, from the front row to a victory here in Austria. We also want to thank those sponsors for helping make these races happen for today's doubleheader. It includes ASR. They design and build the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com. Also, RaceLab. It helps you to improve your driving skills. Start using it now for free at RaceLab.app. And ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing at thebuttkicker.com. As well as SimMSA. Find out how you can bridge the gap between virtual and real motorsports at SimMSA.net. And finally, NinjaTrader. Visit NinjaTrader.com and get started with a risk-free trading simulator to start tracking your performance. Thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen. And additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. Her Bandcamp is there if you want to check out more of her work. Thanks to the team today, DJ, Sean, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. Our social media outlets are listed at the bottom of the screen. And if you'd like to support the channel, check out our merchandise store, simply simracingmerch.com/GSRC. You keep a link in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel while you're down there, because the next race will be at Hockenheim for the Amateur Series and Montreal for the Pros. That'll be Thursday, July 8th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. We have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. Until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.